Hey Book Dragons! So, today I'm going to be reviewing the British edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Now, if you're familiar with the American copy, it's actually called the Sorcerer's Stone instead, so, whatever. I mentioned this in my February TBR, which I'll link down below. I have read the Harry Potter series many times. I have been a fan ever since it first came to America. And I've loved the book series ever since. The movies, not so much. But now, into the book. The big thing about the book, and it's the overlapping theme for the entire series, is we follow the character Harry Potter through 7 years in his life. Pretty much starting off with his first year at Hogwarts to the end of everything. The overlapping theme of having to deal with Voldemort's rise to power again, and how exactly Harry Potter, who's the chosen one, goes about doing it. So when we first start the book, we actually end up with Voldemort is dead. He has tried to kill Harry Potter, and he failed miserably at it. But he killed Harry Potter's parents. So, at the age of 1, Harry Potter is now not really given, but given to his aunt and uncle to take care of him, who are muggles. Now, Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia are the muggles that Harry now lives with for 10 years. They have their own son named Dudley, whose biggest joy in life is tormenting Harry. So, I'm sure a lot of us can feel what Harry's feeling in a lot of ways. So finally, around the time of his 11th birthday, which, if you've read the series, you know all this, all witches and wizards who are being admitted into Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry get a letter. I have my own letter. And so Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia actually want nothing to do with magic and that whole world, which Aunt Petunia's sister, Harry's mom, was in. When Harry's 11, he gets his letter, mine's delayed by how many years? I was supposed to get this in 1998. Oops. And so when he gets his letter, it's really interesting because, like I said, Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia want nothing to do with magic. So for the longest time, they try and hide the letters from him. They end up failing because on Harry's birthday at midnight, Hagrid shows up. And that's the famous line of, "Harry, you're a wizard." So this starts his adventure for his first year at the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Now, up until this point, he has had no magical training whatsoever. Anything magical or deemed weird by the Dursleys is squashed. It is looked down upon. It is just not normal. So they don't talk about it. And he's obviously far behind, but he's not that far behind because underage kids aren't allowed to use magic, blah, blah. And on his first ride to the school on the Hogwarts Express, we meet Ron Weasley, who becomes Harry's best friend. We also meet Hermione Granger, who later in the book also becomes one of Harry's best friends. Now, throughout the series, there's a little tension between the three of them, but it's story building, it's character building. And throughout the first year, we get to learn a little bit about Hogwarts and the classes that Harry's going to take and some of the teachers, and what exactly the wizarding world is like. The way J.K. Rowling wrote this book is everything Harry knows, you know, which is fine. We don't know what many of the other characters are thinking. We don't get to see a whole lot except what Harry sees, even though it's not written in a first-person perspective. I love the writing style. It is amazing and wonderful and magical, and just with the words, J.K. Rowling was able to build a world that, has transcended way past when it was first released. I mean, I will say my husband hasn't read the books, but it doesn't matter. I mean, kids today love this series just because of how magical and how beautifully it's written. So by the end of the book, Harry gets his first real adventure that, again, you will see is the theme through most of the books. And it's an interesting one because, again, we're dealing with Voldemort. And Voldemort wants to pretty much destroy Harry for, at least in this book, an unknown reason. And, you know, it's his first one that he remembers fighting Voldemort in. So the way he does it is really interesting because Voldemort's real, not real, using a body host, kind of looks like an alien a little bit. I don't know how else to put it except for somebody's possessed with Voldemort. So yeah. We also get introduced to two of Harry's biggest nemesis throughout the series. There's Draco Malfoy, who's a Slytherin, and Snape, who is actually the head of the Slytherin household. We learn a little, like I said, we learn a little bit about Hogwarts. We learn a little bit about the past, the way the classes work. We get introduced to Quidditch, which is a really fun game that, like, all wizards love. You know, it's so... This world is so real. It is amazing how J.K. Rowling was able to write this book and make this world so real to all of us, to so many people throughout the years, that it's us. This is us. This is what has made a lot of us. I mean, I know this series by itself was a growing thing for me, and it was always a joy having the books come out and reading them and, you know, slowly rereading them again as the new books came out. And this built my life pretty much from middle school till around the end of college, if that tells you how long this story has been out. Another thing that's different between the British version and the American version, really, in all honesty, is just vocabulary. You know, this is its true form, the way it was meant to be written. So there are a lot of things in here we don't know. And the formatting, the way it's written, is just a little bit different because we use quotation marks, you know, around our dialogue. And the British seem to just use, essentially, the apostrophe. That's it. I don't know how else to say it's different, except it's just vocabulary and, you know, formatting. Still the same magical story. If you have not read Harry Potter, read Harry Potter. You will love it. So many people love this series, and I know a lot of people do. On Goodreads, this was definitely a 5 out of 5. So keep reading those books and burning through them like the dragons you are. Bye, guys.